What's up, everybody? Jack Farr here on behalf of Box to Box Football. Now, we're into kind of the off season. As much as people would, have you believe that the Nations League really, really means something, and that there's all sorts of this extra planning. I think Kevin De Bruyne brought it up best. Like, he doesn't care about the Nations League at all. And I'll be honest with you, James, how many of the Nations League games have you watched, mate?
None so far.
Yeah,
I've been busy.
yeah. No, well, literally, and I think, England's performance against Hungary, again, I think those are a bunch of guys who they've switched off for the off season, So again, trying these Nations League, it's new, so we'll see what happens, but we can kind of move going forward. However, we are into the type of season that I find the most interesting and the most fun to talk about, James. And I know you have some good interest in it as well. Transfers. Where are people going to go? Squad construction. Who needs to come in? Who needs to go? Which clubs? All this kind of stuff. Now, I've got a list of the more reputable names, and I just wanted to kind of go through them and just kind of break them down a little bit, go into each one and just talk about them and where they should go, where they maybe want to go, who should be looking at them anyway, and also how did we get to this stage where they're out of contract with their current club. So going to start strong to begin with, James. Paul Pogba. Now, it seems to be largely written on, writings on the wall a little bit. There's going to be a return to Juventus here, kind of on the cards, right? Again, the idea that you get Paul Pogba on a free transfer twice, into kind of two peaks of his career, they've done something all right there, right? Juventus, they've worked that quite well, making a nice little 100 million euros from Manchester United in the meantime as well. Retrospectively, looking back at his Manchester United career, I think there's an FA Cup in there. There's a Europa League in there. There's a second place finish, maybe 2 second place finishes, I think, in the Premier League. But we can't look at Paul Pogba's Manchester United career as a success, surely, can we, mate?
No. Far from it. And he will tell you that. There's a guy that just not only wanted to compete for titles, not only wanted to win titles, but compete at the highest level. And he did nothing. He did neither of them things there. Forget even about the title side, just the inconsistency that we found in Paul Pogba's play. Every single year saying Man United needs to do this, they need to do that for him. Coming to the end, the way he kind of petered out, and it looked like a guy that forget about his ability, just seemed like he just didn't care after a while. And to me, the final part of Paul Pogba's season just told me everything in what has happened in Paul Pogba during during this Manchester United run. Just a lot of disappointment, underachieving, and just two teams, a player and a team who just seem to be toxic for each other, and
Right.
to me just need to part ways. I feel like it's the best team for both teams. The one thing that makes me a bit disappointed is, to me, where he's going. Because I think he's taken a step backwards, going back to Juventus. But again, that's a different story.
No, it is a different story, and you open up a completely different conversation. If we want to go down there, right, down that kind of road. I think what it finally says to me, James, is this is not a guy. This is not the roots of a team, right? If we use the metaphor of a tree or a flower or whatever, right? And Paul Pogba is not the roots of any football team. You don't build around him. You don't grow from him being that main centerpiece. Paul Pogba is kind of the flower on top, right? Paul Pogba is that kind of extra little bit that you have on the side of an already well working team. Of course, Andrea Pirlo, Arturo Vidal, that must be a nice midfield to play in. I think you and I could probably do a job next to Vidal and Pirlo, and obviously you've got Bonucci and Chiellini, and Barzagli was there as well. Buffon was behind. So again, I have no doubt that what Juventus are going to become going forward with him there, he will do well again. But James, I'm not looking at a guy that you build around here. I'm never going to speak about him ever. There was probably a time where I would put him in the same conversation as a Kevin De Bruyne, maybe, 7 or 8 years ago, right? 6, 7 years ago, something like that. But now those conversations have totally gone.
Jack,
Any comparisons to the top players over it?
Pardon?
No, just any comparisons to those top players. Forget about it. He's not on that level. He really isn't.
To me, he's obviously has the ability to, but I just can't keep on mentioning ability. You have to do it on a consistent basis. We think about the greats. We have to do it on a consistent basis. Now, Jack, let me tell you something interesting about Paul Pogba when he was playing for Juventus. Interestingly enough, is that he sometimes played in a diamond four, or
Right.
even at times, Jack, he played out wide.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a thing where Paul Pogba, especially, I'm talking about when like they had the original three of Arturo Vidal, Andrea Pirlo, Marquinhos there. You know, these guys, it wasn't like
Yeah.
Paul Pogba was just walking in there. He was the man.
Right.
He was probably third, fourth choice, you know? So it's a thing
Which I think suits him. I think probably suit him, even his mentality. We know, I think he's quite a sensitive guy. You know, lots of the time, I think when you hear about any criticism he gets, James, he hears the noise, right? If the media is bad on him or if anybody's criticizing him, he knows, he hears it all.
Oh, but again, if I ever meet Paul Pogba, I'll tell him how I feel about him as a football player. Because Jack,
Yeah.
you know, I think the guy's
his talent's ridiculous.
What's like as a pure midfielder, Jack? If I describe a midfielder to you, Jack, it's Paul Pogba.
Yeah, for sure.
He generally is, you know. But it's disappointing to see what happens. I just hope that in the next 2-3 years that he can show everybody the ability that he has overall, not just on one occasion, but for me consistently. And if he can do that, then maybe people will look at him a little bit different.
Also, winning a Scudetto is not success with Juve for Pogba. It's Champions League. That's the only way that Paul Pogba is ever going to really prove to me that he's that guy, is if he can be a driving force behind a European title push in whatever that comes up. So obviously, James, I want to move on here. You mentioned you feel like it's a step back. Now, I think you and I both think it will be to Juventus, and I think that we're probably going to be right on that. We're not going to make much money with that bet at the moment. Where should he go? If you were advising him, you're his agent or you're his friend, and he's got offers from every team in the world, where would you say, hey, man, you need to go here?
Jack, let me tell you a little interesting story. No, my brother's a Chelsea fan,
Right.
and I was mentioning certain players to him. And then I mentioned to him Paul Pogba. And he looked and he thought for a minute. He's like, I guess I'll take it. And I was like, yeah, Paul isn't that guy anymore.
No.
Because I told him, would you take Mbappe? Yeah. Would you take Messi? Yeah. Would you take Lewandowski? Yeah. Would you take Haaland? Yeah. I said Paul Pogba, and he took him like 2 minutes just to think, and maybe, you know?
Also, mate, as well, he's got Kante next to him, and we know who he plays well with is Kante. So for your brothers to even have to
this is what I'm saying. Yes, if you have to think about that, it makes you realize, okay, this guy's lost his thing. Paul Pogba's next move, in my eyes, was always going to be for Real Madrid. The fact that Real Madrid I'm not hearing much about Real Madrid being linked towards, and lets me know where Paul Pogba's at right now.
Right.
You know, even he kind of feels like, yeah, maybe I have underperformed. And I mentioned PSG, but apparently PSG are linked with Jose Mourinho, and we know what that relationship was like. Yep. So that's probably not going to happen. Bayern Munich. Maybe I think
that's my one. That's my if I'm telling him to go somewhere, that's what I did, James. They're a well-oiled machine there, and he would have to get in line or get out of town if he was at Bayern Munich.
Barcelona, I don't think Barca have the finances to him. I want to see Paul Pogba in like one of them teams. I do believe right now when you look at Juventus, they're probably the third, fourth best team in Italy right now, and you look at them with losing players like Chiellini, they're going through this weird transition. I personally would look towards a Barcelona, Real Madrid. But do these teams want him? That's the biggest question. Because 4 or 5 years ago, Paul Pogba on the free, Jack, people would be throwing everything at him. Oh, let me have it. Let me talk. Let me this. Don't get it twisted. Paul Pogba obviously gets offers.
Right.
But you know it comes different. Mbappe was going to be a free agent. You see the speculation I was hearing. Barcelona,
everybody,
Real Madrid, Liverpool, PSG are about to throw the whole of Qatar, the whole of
everything. Mauricio Pochettino's contract.
So yeah, it's to me with Paul Pogba is always a tough one.
So yeah, I'm going to say Bayern. I already mentioned why, but moving on, James. And I feel like a lot of these guys are kind of a little bit of disappointment running through it. Isco, he's going to leave Real Madrid. I don't think that once you look at his little trophy cabinet or his little medal haul that you can say he's not been a success at Real Madrid. I think that maybe he's not lived up to everything he could have done, but I think that you still have to consider it a success from when he was signed from. It was Malaga, right, that he initially came from. Isco, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know how old he is. Maybe I should get that up here. But
30. I literally just Googled it right now. He's 30. He's 30 years of age.
Now, Isco's been there and done it. Obviously, he's not been the main centerpiece with Real Madrid, but he has been there and done it in multiple competitions. So if you're advising Isco where to go, where should Isco go? Should he be looking at the Premier League? Should he be looking? Because, James, I look at Italy as a great location. One of the Milan teams I think would be really cool. Roma, I've seen him linked to Roma as well. You know,
I think Roma would be a fantastic spot for him. Isco to me is a tough one because Jack, I'm not gonna lie, going into 2013, all the way to 2019, he was one of my favorite midfielders in the world, Jack. I used to drool over his highlights. Like I mean, like just the way he is, the way he manipulates the ball, how diminutive he is. What a talent! And you mentioned did he underachieve at Real Madrid? I can't say he underachieved when he played big parts in Champions League runs. You know, Real Madrid had to get rid of Bale at times just to fit Isco in. That's how, think about it. That's how important, and that's how big he came on. In the 2014 final, he came on and changed the game for Real Madrid. But overall, his career, he's going to look at it as a big disappointment. Right. This guy, to me, was the heir to Andres Iniesta. He was meant to take this, not only Real Madrid but the Spanish national team to the next level. Not to the next level because they've already achieved everything, but
maintain, right?
But basically maintain that level. Him and Thiago and the rest of them, man, there. But he was the guy. I remember watching him even in Euro 2016. Fantastic, the last World Cup, and thinking, okay, yes, this guy sort of has it. And it just feels with me with Isco, it's like he got complacent and he is where he is right now. A 30-year-old Isco, and I'm just thinking, this is personally me, Jack, maybe America. Because I haven't seen this guy play football in ages.
Or China, one of those, or Saudi Arabia, you know, somewhere we can make a bunch of money. I'm not going to lie, though, he's probably made quite a lot of money anyway. But yeah, I think go to Italy, prove yourself. You know, the Italian league is always looking for those kind of like half wingers, half number 10 spots. You know, they're littered across all of Serie A. So, yeah, Roma would be really, really cool. Mkhitaryan is about to sign for Inter Milan. So to me, replacing Mkhitaryan, I think that would be kind of cool as well. But yeah, very kind of up and down career for Isco. But again, like we've just said, you can point to a number of different things where you go, wow, man, he was impressive for this Real Madrid team. But just similar to Pogba in a way, mate.
Jack, I think on ability-wise, he was proper. Jack, he was ridiculous. I'm telling you guys, if you have time, just go Google Isco from 2016 or 24 or 2004, even his time in Malaga.
Talented, unreal. Nobody could touch him. You mentioned him earlier, James, Gareth Bale. Now, this to me is absolutely fascinating because Gareth Bale doesn't give a you know what. He doesn't care. He does not care at all. I don't think Gareth Bale is going to be swayed by money. I don't think Gareth Bale is going to be swayed by could he play in the Champions League or not. I think that Gareth Bale at this point, I don't know what his motivations are to play football anymore. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought after this Real Madrid offer that he would retire from club football and just play for Wales. That was my legitimate prediction. If I'm advising him though, James, I would have him just probably, I don't know, Southampton, Spurs, somewhere that he's been before, somewhere that he knows he's loved. He's not been loved by a fan base since he signed for Real Madrid, basically. So to me, just to experience that love again, be back in the UK speaking English, which I'm sure he's very happy doing, and then on his off days going to every single golf club all around the UK, play for Wales, give your all, right? Why not? That would be my advice to him. Just go have fun. Go do your thing. Go be yourself. James, Gareth Bale has absolutely nothing to prove to anybody at this point. You and I can debate on his attitude and the way that he applied himself at Real Madrid, but you look at what he achieved at Real Madrid. Oh my goodness, he was unbelievable.
Jack, he was unbelievable, but also underperformed.
Right.
I'll be as truthfully honest with you there. And you ask Gareth Bale this. I get it, Gareth Bale isn't the biggest goal scorer there, but for a player this talented, I think the most goals he ever scored for Real Madrid, he never hit 30. I think the most he hit in the season was 21. Let me just go ahead and just make sure here.
But how many of those goals were really important, though? You know what I mean? He's that kind of guy.
No, but Jack, so the highest he ever hit for Real Madrid was the first season, 22, right? How many times did he play 50 games? None. He played 44, 48, 31, 27, 39, 42, 20, and 7. So here's a guy to me, just, yes, the most big moments, goodness gracious me. The guy delivers on the big
Right.
moments more than any other football player. This guy should be goated for what he did for Real Madrid in the big moments, but also a guy that could have done more for Real Madrid. If he would have stayed fit a lot, you know, because a lot of times there's a lot of injuries there. You could have been looking at a guy hitting 30 to 35, 40 plus goals in a season, getting assists. Real Madrid, I think, in his time won like 3 leagues. If he probably would have stayed fit, they probably would have won more leagues. They could have been even more dominant. So it's a thing with Bale, is that he done amazing at Real Madrid, but I can also hint at times when his attitude and just his body just let him down. So I look at this from this point of view. Does he have anything to prove? No. When people really look at it, the guy's won 5 Champions Leagues. He's going to take Wales to a World Cup. No. Personally, if I was him, Jack, playing football is hard. To wake up every single day, to run the type of miles these guys run, to put your body through aches and pains and all that sort of stuff there. It's, Jack, it's horrible.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. The money's great and all that sort of stuff there, but it's difficult. And like, you got to ask himself, does he want to do that again? Does he want to put himself through all that? Yeah, because, Jack, if he goes to a team, they're going to expect everything from him. Because why? They're going to pay a big fee for him. They're going to want, the fans are going to want, oh, we seen that Gareth Bale there that they're like done this for Spurs and Real Madrid. That's what we want. And if he doesn't do that,
I'm wondering now, and I don't know this, but I'm wondering, are we dealing with a guy who's not going to want that much money?
But Jack, I believe
if his choice was, you have to play for Man City, Man United, Paris Saint-Germain, basically those 4 clubs, and you have to be there, you have to do like all those things you talked about, you have to do the grind, you have to do that, or we can pay you half of that, quarter of that, and you can come play at Southampton, and you can have every other day off to go play golf. We just need you to play at the weekend. I think he's taken that Southampton option seriously at this point. I don't think he cares about a lot of the things that most players care about.
I love watching Gareth Bale.
Yeah,
I really did love.
For Wales, man, it's great. He's great.
For Wales, for Tottenham, as much as I'm an Arsenal fan all my days. That him in 2012, 2013. You talk about, I don't like that word carry. Oh, he carried us. That was probably the biggest single hand job I've ever seen, Jack. This guy was getting the ball 30, 40 yards out, beating one player, smashing it into the top corner, week in and week out. Just ridiculous what he was able to do to even help them get 4th place. I think Bale should retire, Jack.
From not from international though, or do you think from international too?
I feel like the fact that he's going to take Wales to a World Cup.
So after the World Cup, just sack it off. Don't sign with the team.
Jack, like, come on, like, David Bentley, he was a phenomenal. He's a fantastic football player. He retired at 28. Still had so much more in the tank. Bale has done what he had to do. The fact that he got Wales to semi-finals, it now takes him to a World Cup. After this World Cup, it's like,
James, I'm not going to lie as well. I don't know Gareth Bale's handicap, but I think if Gareth Bale plays golf full time as well for the next 5+ years or so, Gareth Bale could find himself on the PGA Tour if he wanted to. Seriously, this is a serious athlete, and if he does it full time and he has the money to be able to have all the right equipment, all the right coaching, keep his body in the right shape, get the right caddy and all that kind of stuff, we could be looking at a PGA Tour golfer right now for the next 10 years.
Maybe even going to professional golf. You're right. I just, Jack, being a football player is hard.
Yeah, no, it's hard. I know.
So
moving on to another kind of, I'm going to call these guys Premier League legends because I think they are in their own right. As much as he's probably a little bit more of a Real Madrid legend these days, but Luis Suarez, James. What should Luis Suarez do? Because again, I'm looking at a guy. How much does Luis Suarez have to offer at the elite now? Is Luis Suarez going to be starting for these top teams anymore, or should Luis Suarez go do something else? Should Luis Suarez help Steven Gerrard out, right, for Aston Villa? Should he do something like that, or should he go to maybe back to South America, or go to Ajax or PSV, wherever he was originally from?
Jack, the maddest thing is that to produce big moments, I genuinely do believe Luis Suarez is still capable of producing them big moments for any team, Jack. Put him on for a short spell, he will get you a goal, he'll get you a winning goal. You know, like he still has the quality, but to be an out and out number 9 with the way he used to be, it's not that. He isn't the
Nice.
Luis Suarez of old. He's an old man right now, gained a bit more weight, and he's not the same guy. Again, I don't know how old is he. Probably have to look there. If I was Luis Suarez at this moment of time, I was seeing links to Barcelona. I just think just call it a day, go to America, and just get your
Make some
get
money,
your moolah.
enjoy your family.
He's 35 years of age, and I feel like he's done so much in his time. He's breaking so many records. He's won in this generation of striker. I'm talking from the 2010s. I mean since to 2010, the best, probably the best.
He's up. He's definitely up there. Look, I tend to agree with you. I'm not gonna lie. Like the idea of him being with Gerrard and Coutinho and there's a certain we'll get the band back together kind of deal going on there, right? If he could just come off the bench and he wants to just hang out in England, I don't know if he enjoyed his time living there or not.
But Jack, I said England, that the amount of abuse he got from England, that's one of the reasons why he left in the first place. Why would he want to go back?
Again, this is one of the most hated footballers ever, and quite rightly so. He's I hate him more than any other player who's ever played.
He goes to Manchester United, he's going to get booed off the park. He goes to Stamford Bridge, he's going to get booed. Liverpool fans don't like him.
Again, and also the thing that sticks out to me, the biting and the racism and all that stuff is very egregious and really, really wrong and horrible. I don't know if this makes me sound good or not if I'm saying that this is worse than racism, but the thing against Ghana, Jack,
I was totally fine with that. People must see you because if that was Wayne Rooney doing that to put England in the semi-final, we wouldn't say that. Like it happens. To me, he did. You might think it's the wrong thing, but
totally.
In terms of you doing it for your team, it's the right thing to do.
Oh man, I hate it. Well, mate, it was more because it was the last African team in the first ever African World Cup kind of thing. I hated it so much. But anyway, we won't get super bitter about Luis Suarez here. James, moving on to kind of an interesting one now. Christian Erickson. Now, he's had a great time coming back at Brentford. Obviously, he had that kind of really horrible situation happen at the Euros. He's back, right? He's back to his kind of best or close to his best. I mean, especially with his performances at Brentford, we've seen some real talent. What should Christian Erickson be looking to do now?
Jack, concerning Christian Erickson, personally, here's a guy to me who's just revived his career. I don't think he's a sympathy act anymore. Teams really want to they shouldn't take a punt on him because you're not taking a punt on a guy. Here's a guy who's going to come into your team and create quality. Jack, there's to me 2 teams that should be really looking at and that he should consider. Going back to Spurs, if they want it, but again, the Antonio Conte thing might be a thing that will put him off.
Right.
But another one that to me is going to work out, that should work out, and they've had a big clear out, and I've been seeing the links heavily, it's Manchester United. You look at the profile that Erik ten Hag wants as a player, I genuinely do believe Christian Eriksen fits that sort of mold there. And why wouldn't you want to play for Manchester United? I genuinely do feel that with what Christian Eriksen can bring to a team, Manchester United to me is the one for him.
Well, again, replacing an outgoing Mata, an outgoing Lingard, who we're going to talk about in just a second. James, it feels to me like Mason Greenwood's going to get off his charges and he's probably going to come back in and there's going to be this big PR campaign to make him look socially acceptable again going forward. But there is potentially a spot there available, especially with Marcus Rashford. We don't know about his future. So there's definitely a chance there. I'm struggling with this one because, and I know this isn't the way the football industry works, but the team that gave Christian Eriksen another big chance was Brentford. I know that you might not totally agree with this, but do you think he owes it to Brentford to re-sign? Or do you think he's earned the chance to move elsewhere, do you think?
I wouldn't say he owes them anything. I feel like he done them a favour coming in. The fact that they say, wow, we can sign a player of the quality of Christian Eriksen, why not? To me, with it right now, it's like, can Christian Eriksen play at a higher level? Yes. Does he want to play at a higher level? Yes. Does he want to win titles? Yes.
Right.
So to me, the best thing for him to do is to go out and find a team that's going to be willing to fulfill his ambition.
I tend to agree with you. I'll be honest with you. You mentioning Manchester United, it's actually a great fit. Especially, he was originally from Ajax. Erik ten Hag, obviously, I'm sure knows him very, very well from just kind of knowing him from around football and the Ajax Academy and whatnot. So that actually makes a lot of sense to me. I might advise him to do that as well. I don't think he should be maybe expecting to start. But James, if in training he's the better option to start, maybe we are looking at a starting player for Manchester United going into next season, alongside a Donny van de Beek or somebody like that.
But Jack, with all the Manchester United have lost a lot of players. And
Yes.
to me, a player that needs to be challenged heavily is Bruno Fernandes. The fact that he knows that, listen, my place in Manchester United team is solid.
Right.
Christian Eriksen comes in, got to look over my shoulder now. If I don't pull up my weight, Christian Eriksen will take my spot in this team, and I'm going to be sitting on the bench. So to me, I feel like it's a no-brainer for Manchester United.
So keeping on the Manchester United team here, James, Jesse Lingard. Now, I'm sure that we can keep this conversation within England, right? I would imagine. Teams that come to mind for me, West Ham, obviously. He could potentially be a kind of a real spearhead and focal point for Newcastle as well. But again, with the attacking options they have with like Almiron, Saint-Maximin, Callum Wilson, is Lingard going to be able to play like that kind of second striker role, number 10, or where's he going to fit in there? For me, I'm going to say West Ham. It's too easy. It's way too easy of a thing to just add on. Especially Jack, if they lose Declan Rice too, you need something to say to the fans, guys, don't worry. Here comes Jesse Lingard. He was the best player for the period that we had him,
It's a tough one because I feel like West Ham's obviously a great one. I do think for him that if he wants to maybe reach a higher ambition, Newcastle with the way they're building, to me, is definitely an option. But Jack, I think maybe Jesse Lingard should talk to his friend Paul Pogba and look elsewhere. Maybe look outside of England. He's experienced everything in England, played in England for so many years, Championship, Premier League, done so many amazing stuff there. A way that he could revive his career to me would be going away from England. And I think a great place for him to go to. You mentioned like these number 10s and like them playing as a half winger, half number 10, just popping up in pockets of space. Maybe moving to Italy might be a great option for Jesse Lingard.
James, I'm not going to lie.
Trying something new.
Nemanja Matic has already signed for Roma, right? I would take Jesse Lingard in a heartbeat. I'd take Jesse Lingard. Again, maybe this is a bit of a rogue opinion. I'd take Jesse Lingard over Isco at this point for a Jose Mourinho Roma team for sure.
I don't think that's wild at all because Isco hasn't played football in like 2-3 years.
Let me ask you now, because I want to kind of group these last couple together in little bits. Paulo Dybala and Bernardeschi. Those are two pretty big staples of Juventus Football Club right there. And they're going to be on the way out in some way, shape or form. To you, how are you looking at this going forward and what should these guys be aiming to do? Because to me, again, it's a tale as old as time. It doesn't work out at Juventus, join Milan, join Inter, join Roma, do something like that for somebody like Dybala. Bernardeschi, I guess it's just whoever can offer him the most money. But James, with Lingard in that conversation there, maybe his conversation with Pogba isn't just, hey man, where should I go? Maybe it's, hey man, can I come play with you at Juve? Is that something you think would potentially happen?
Okay. I think if it's Paulo Dybala, let's not do this inbred thing. Again, with Bernardeschi, I'm not really sure where he should go. What do you think should be the best place for him, Jack?
I'm not going to lie to you. Like I said, whoever gives him the most money. I don't think he particularly. I think his focus right now, I would imagine, is purely on performances for Italy. So that obviously he's missing this World Cup, that maybe the next Euros that he can play. So he's going to want to go somewhere that he can play. He's going to want to go somewhere where he can go, I need to be recognised for this Italy team. And I don't think he overly cares too much about kind of titles and stuff. I'd love to see him. Maybe he could come to England, but again, it's way too easy to say Spurs at this point for a player who plays in Italy. or especially he's played at Juventus. They've already taken Dejan Kulusevski. So, you know, what's wrong with taking Bernardeschi? But I'll be honest with you, that's a tricky one. I don't know that one.
My thing with Paulo Dybala, and I think that this weird inbred thing about just going to all these, all the Italian big giants is a bit weird. Like, you guys just share players like it's nothing is to me a bit weird. The fact that Mkhitaryan is
James,
Roma, and he's going to
Inter the year after. The year after that Kolarov did the same thing. Like, again,
it's weird, but I think Dybala's too good to just stay in Italy. I do want to see him take a punt. I would love to see him at the Premier League. I'll see him linked with Tottenham. Man City to a certain point. I'll give you another one, Jack, and I mentioned it back with Christian Erickson. Manchester United.
Yeah.
Manchester United, I feel like maybe he'll talk to his friend Paul Pogba and that might change the way he feels about signing with a Manchester United. But you need a team that you're going to come into that's going to be big enough for you to be able to capture the imagination of the fans. If Paulo Dybala gets it right at Manchester United, boy, we're Jack, everything blows up there. I'm talking marketing, fans, all that sort of stuff there. I genuinely do believe him going to a team like Manchester United and helping revive them would be something special. So I personally, if I was him, I would look towards the Premier League so we can show his quality. So I would love to see him in the Premier League. Manchester United would be another great destination for him.
Just to let everybody watching know as well, they might be thinking, well, where's the name of the player that I'm thinking of or talking about? There's a few names that obviously we know where these guys are going to go.
Arsenal to Paulo Dybala, if you want to do it. So
you could think about it. Franck Kessié, that's probably going to be a Barcelona thing, right? When they sort their finances out, that's already been agreed. Lacazette, back to Lyon, right? It's not something that we necessarily need to talk about. Christensen, also Barcelona, as long as they sort out their finances and all this kind of stuff. So we brought up Pogba because it's a big name. You know, there's a couple of these guys that we have had to bring up, but some of the kind of lesser known names, we already know where a lot of them are going to go. James, last few here. Ousmane Dembele. I mean, listen, again.
Why'd you keep him so far down the line?
I just wanted to drop him in, keep it hot.
Dembele.
That's a huge deal. Now, again, I know you probably think, Jack hates Ousmane Dembele. No. I hate Barcelona for paying all that money to Dortmund and then him having to come in and try and justify his price tag. It's like, no. Ousmane Dembele did not pick the amount of money he cost. Struggled with injuries, had issues here and there. What do you reckon, James? Where should he go? I mean, we're hearing a lot about the Premier League here, right? And I think that's probably where it's going to end up being. But who?
Now, me, I always going to try and take my allegiance to Arsenal and I won't say hatred, but my dislike to certain teams out of it. I like to be as objective as possible and, try to be as fair. I think a great team for him to join, Jack, is Chelsea. I've been seeing the links with Chelsea. Chelsea have been missing that guy, missing that Eden Hazard, that X factor, that player that can just light up an arena. I would think that Dembele would be a great option there, but the only problem is that can you get him on the field? Once you get him on the field, there's not a problem. But if he stays fit, I think Chelsea would be a fantastic place for him to come into London, all that sort there, Champions League. We know how great Chelsea. I think that would be a great place for him.
I'm going to say Liverpool, and the reason why Chelsea, for whatever reason, Ziyech not worked, Pulisic not worked. Hudson-Odoi shows sparks now and then, but not worked. Right, a lot of their wide men doesn't really work for whatever reason. You're not talking about a guarantee, know what you're going to get when you're looking at Ousmane Dembele. Dejan Kulusevski, Spurs knew exactly what was coming through the door, and he's delivered that exactly, probably above expectations actually. But what's come from him, you've gone, yep, I knew what I was coming. Ousmane Dembele could come through the door at Chelsea for a lot of money, and then it's like, well, we don't know what we're getting here. The reason why I think it works at Liverpool, James, even if it's like a relatively short-term deal, maybe 3-year deal, and he's maybe not on as much money, I think he's going to relish the chance playing under Jurgen Klopp, relish the chance playing at Liverpool. But then if they're going to miss him on games because of injuries or because of whatever, they're not going to struggle too much. Whereas I think Chelsea, there will be that kind of thing of like, man, we gave this guy a lot of money and we're kind of really hoping to rely on him. So that would be my pick for him. Also, James, I can't deny PSG as well. Again, it would be too easy for him, but it's something he could do.
I don't think the PSG thing works out and makes sense. The fact that I think he comes in and probably is fourth, fifth choice in that array of talent right there. Let's be honest, he doesn't start ahead of Messi, Neymar, or Mbappe. Let's be truthfully honest, Jack. He doesn't. And to me, the fact that now they're gonna add Dembele to it, they already struggled having those three in it. You're gonna add Dembele to it.
Di Maria is out the door. Is the only thing I'll say. Now again, especially if Messi wants to drop a little deeper, perhaps I don't know. Maybe I don't know what they're going to try and do. Also, apparently Pochettino is going to be fired any day now as well. So I guess we don't know who's going to be coming in.
Jose coming in, but
don't do that to me. Honestly, I'll be so upset. I honestly will be.
My only thing is that I feel like Luis Diaz and Dembele are quite similar,
right?
And the one thing like Liverpool have is that they have players who have this sort of mentality to go forward. While I look at Dembele, he's an out-and-out winger. He's a guy that likes to get on the touchline, beat a defender, whip a ball across the box. And Liverpool are able to change and bring in a number 9. Maybe that kind of works out. But he doesn't have that Mo Salah individual, I want to score goals mentality there. So that's where I just feel like you having 2 out-and-out wingers and having maybe a Firmino in there wouldn't really work out. Liverpool will need to add another striker, add another goal scorer to it for me, for that to be a success for me.
So from going from Ousmane Dembele, we're going right down the hill here again to a guy that I actually think is great. And I made a comment recently about him and in comparison to Harry Maguire. James Tarkovsky at Burnley. Like I said, I think that if Man United spent 80 million on James Tarkovsky, I don't know if the result is a whole lot different. I'd say the result's probably better for Manchester United if they'd have done that. So again, we're not looking at this, what do guys like to say on like BT and stuff, Rolls-Royce defender. We're not looking at that. But we're looking at James, a proven Premier League centre-back, who I think every single year you're probably giving like bordering on the top 10 in terms of like his ability to play centre-back in the Premier League. So what should this guy do? I look at initially, James, names come into my head like Everton need somebody in there who's gonna provide a little bit of bit of solidarity. I don't even know if I'm using that word right. Solidifying that position. James, West Ham, again, that could be a nice option there as well, because I don't think he's going to ever break into a top 6. Probably, maybe a Spurs, but
that's what I was going to say.
Oh, were you?
I think obviously Everton's always in there, and I'm just looking at just rumors. Everton there seems to be the biggest link that comes up there. Leicester City, West Ham, Newcastle, definitely an option. But I do think that a Spurs would be a nice place for him to settle at. But the question is that I think the way Spurs are going with Antonio Conte, I'm guessing they're going to look towards more Italian Serie A players. I'm not sure how much of a James Tarkovsky would get Conte, going like that, or like would even a James Tarkovsky be a choice that Antonio Conte would make. But if I was James Tarkovsky, I genuinely do believe that Tottenham would be a great destination for him.
Right. Corentin Tolisso, leaving Bayern Munich. I think you name dropped. Ooh, might take a little punt on him for Arsenal. I mean, do you still feel that way, or do you think you should be maybe aiming a little higher, or is that somebody especially partnered with somebody like Thomas Partey? Maybe, especially if Granit Xhaka is going to be out the door, is that kind of a level of replacement that you'd be pretty happy with?
I would love him in Arsenal. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like he brings that bit of dynamism there. But my biggest thing with Tolisso is that where has he really been?
I know.
Like a player of his standard, you hear him as a free, people should be throwing everything at him. Jack, I haven't heard much about a team being linked towards him and this and that. Like, it's a weird one for me with him, because there was a time when he was one of the like one of the first choice for the French national team, and now it's like he's just kind of in the wilderness after leaving Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, they don't let players go like that.
No.
especially on a free Jack.
Also,
You know?
James, we're
And
not
Jack
dealing...
is 27 too. He's
That's
27.
what I was just about to say. We're not dealing with a 32-year-old where we're kind of at the end of the road now, and we've got Leon Goretzka, and Kimmich usually comes in and plays centre mid and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, we're dealing with a guy who should be, especially in a central midfield position, kind of entering his prime. So to me, great risk for somebody like an Arsenal. Again,
Jack, I'm going to give you three teams, and they seem to come up a lot. And you know what? I'm going to give you another one. I think a Liverpool should take a look at them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think if I'm being truthfully honest, another place, probably the best place for him is Tottenham. Tottenham will probably be the best spot for him. When you look at that midfield and we look at what he can bring to that midfield, that will probably be the best place for him. Manchester United and obviously Arsenal. Again, I'm giving the same names every single time, but those are the teams who really need it. Let's be truthfully honest.
Also, James, we're not going to be talking about some of the lower level players here. As much as I want to sit here for 20 hours and talk to you about some no-name who's just left a club in the Championship and where he should go. No, we're talking, these are the best of the best in terms of the free agents. James, I've got one more for you, just because I think it's interesting because we haven't had many goalkeepers come up. Andre Onana. Now, supposedly this has been Inter Milan bound for a long, long time. And I'm pretty sure he's had some legal trouble and all sorts of other stuff going on now, but I'm pretty sure he's past that now. And I was just wondering if you can think of a team that, should take a punt on maybe a goalkeeper who could be a starting goalkeeper. Again, I hate to say it, Spurs are another one that could come up. Hugo Lloris, it's not getting any better right there. I think they just signed Fraser Forster as a backup. Andre Onana could do that. But again, Roma have Rui Patricio. Milan got Manyan from Lille. Inter, Handanovic is still amazing. I love Samir Handanovic. I think he's great. But you need the what am I trying to say here? The next heir to the throne to happen sooner rather than later.
I feel like there's just an obvious team. Just keep on mentioning them, Jack, is Manchester United. You look at, to me, the fact that Eric Ten Hag is going to be the next, he is now the new Manchester United manager. We talk about the way he wants to play. I do believe David De Gea should still be the number one there, but who's this, Jack? Who's Manchester United second?
Dean Henderson at the moment, who supposedly, by all accounts, is going to be Newcastle.
If he's checked out, I do believe that if you bring in Onana, they're playing second fiddle to him or just pushing De Gea, I think that would be a phenomenal move for Manchester United. And also Andre Onana, to me, that's the clear and obvious one for him. Manchester United, easily.
Well, guys, I haven't got any more for you. So, guys, that's free agency. Kind of all wrapped up, all these players. Like I say, it's going to be a long process to see where these guys come. Let us know in the comments if any of those names, jump out to you, the Dybalas and Pogbas of the world, where they should go, where you think they will go. Drop a like on the video. James and I on that road to 1,000 subscribers still. So if you're not subscribed, do hit that button. And until next time, we'll see you.